off! Welcome to the 58th episode of the Brave News channel. I am your host, Shali, and we're here with Rizky. Say hello, Rizky.
Hello, everyone. Wow. It's end
and
of
today, yeah, I know. It's June already. Half a year has already passed. And what a crazy year it has been already. But, you know, we're here to bring you the news about your favorite application, Brave Frontier Global, available to you guys on iOS, Android, Amazon devices, as well as Windows. And yeah, this year has been a lot of ups and downs so far, but we still have a lot of new content coming in for our summoners that we are hoping that they will enjoy. So let's get just right into the news, Rizky. Can I pass things off to you?
All right. So as a part of Memoir of Fragments series, we will have the new special dungeon called House of Valen. And in this House of Valen Vortex, you can actually get a unit called Gortius as a reward Omni unit. I guess it's quite interesting. From the look of him itself, I can see some resemblance to the existing character.
Yes.
Do you want to introduce this character, Shali?
Sure. So Gortius, I think a lot of people should know this already. They've been keeping up with the story. But Gortius is Estia's older brother. So he was the one who was initially supposed to inherit the crown and then rule over all of Elysia. And that's why you can see that signature blue hair there. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's just a little bit of a brief summary for him. But why don't we take a look at him as an actual unit? Because I'm sure everybody wants to see his unit art. So let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
And then here we can see that he's just, contrary to his colors, which are very, very blue and navy, he's surrounded by just like a sea of fire. Like his sword is all on fire. I think this just shows the passionate aspects of his personality.
Right.
He is somebody who is especially passionate about his family. He loves his wife Miriam. He loves his daughter Evie. And he would do absolutely anything for them. And the biggest thing that he did, actually, in order to have this family that he holds so dear, is basically he gave up his crown as king to be able to be with them and just have a happy family, you know. But maybe it's time for Gortius to claim the throne back and assert his right as king. So I think that is where the story is heading, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is what we're going to see this time around, developing in the world of Brave Frontier. Well, what do you think of his design, Rizky?
Well, I think his design is showing a classic, like charismatic king kind of design. And despite his mainly blue color, that fire effect is just fitting him perfectly. Yeah.
It's a really bright contrast because you usually don't expect units with that color palette to be of the completely opposite element. Usually, would have red hair or darker hair, but this bright blue, navy blue hair dude is fire element. It's pretty cool. I like the contrast for sure. Alright, and along with Gortius, we do have another unit that we would like to present to you guys, and that unit is, I believe you pronounced it Kyria?
Yeah, something like Kyria, I guess.
Yeah, it could be either Kyria or Kyria. I'm gonna go with Kyria just because it's easier for me to say.
Yeah. Same with me.
Kyria is a very interesting character because, number one, I feel like I kind of have seen her before. She's an Altered Destiny summon unit, so this wouldn't be, crazy to say, right? Because a lot of Altered Destiny units do have a base already in the world of Brave Frontier somewhere. So, she's very knightly. She seems like she's come from, some kingdom. We don't know what kingdom. We don't know if it was in the past or the present or what time or, where she came from. But she looks like she's a woman of good social standing. She comes from a good family, probably a royal family. And the only thing that is really on her mind is this thing called an eternal hunt. And by eternal we mean death has no
boundaries,
yeah, like eternal really meaning like in any shape or form. So not even bound by death. So you know, some people consider like the end to be, you know, when somebody dies, because nothing goes on after that. But in Kyria's case, there is no end, even when, you know, death happens to come along, which can be seen by her mount. She's on top of this I mean, for lack of a better word, I'm gonna say like ghost horse.
Yeah.
She's on top of this ghost horse, and she's just riding about, and it's just kind of contradictory because her aura is very kind of like divine, saintly type, and then her mount is kind of like ghostly, eerie type, and then you add on to that the fact that she claims that her entourage and her comrades are people who have been dead for a really long time. You know, it's a really
interesting set, I guess.
Yeah, you know, when we think about like divine beings, we think about like angels and things like that, but we don't necessarily think about like ghosts. You know, ghosts are more of like the darker side of things. So it's a very interesting juxtaposition of these two different, I guess, ideas meeting in the middle. Right. Which I guess you can also take as just kind of like the basis of Brave Frontier itself, because if you remember what you are doing when you summon a hero in Brave Frontier, these heroes are long gone.
Some of them, have.
Yeah, so you are basically bringing back ghosts to fight for you. So when you look at it from the game's perspective, it's not that crazy of like a notion. But when you see it incorporated in like one unit, it's just really interesting. I think it hits you in a different way. I don't know. Personally, for me, it does. But what do you think of her desires?
Yeah, I think the combination of like that saintly being, like divine being, and the ghostly companion, I guess. This ghostly horse is pretty interesting, and they didn't make it like too. I don't know, like too gorish or scary like the Halloween stuff, but it's more like
right.
Yeah, it's kind of like I would actually be really interested to see the story of this unit, but I believe Alto Destiny we don't really have a much explanation other than the character lore itself. But yeah, it will be interesting.
Yeah, we don't have too much to go on. I'm definitely interested to see like what her final lore comes out being, and if it like turns into a story eventually, because it sounds like a very intriguing plot line for sure.
Yeah, like the only thing I can think of is like she's probably the one that do the so-called the cleansing of the soul. Oh, sounds like Valkyrie.
Yeah, I mean, and she kind of does look like a Valkyrie as well, you know. Even her name.
Yeah, Kyria.
You know, Kyria. It sounds like it comes from the word Valkyrie, doesn't it? Like Valkyria, Valkyrie. So I was thinking the exact same thing. And that's what a Valkyrie does. Valkyries are like divinely appointed by Odin to go into the earth and pick out souls that can become warriors in service of Odin. So that's basically what she's doing. So maybe she's just a Valkyrie.
or maybe
we just don't know.
Or maybe she's inspired by another unit, another real life character. Maybe like we just let the users to let our players to guess.
I mean, it's got me guessing for sure. Like I have so many questions, definitely.
Right. Okay.
All right, but she looks really cool. I can't wait for her.
Yep, me too.
To come to the game.
Okay, so moving on to the next set of content, next slide, we will have the Battles of Brave Frontier 2, Chilling Beauties. I guess for people who actually have a chance to play the Brave Frontier 2 in the Japanese version, they will be quite familiar with these two sisters, Hilda and Rene. And when you finish this dungeon, you will also get the Sisters Fury Sphere. So, shall I pass it to you, Shally, to introduce about these two interesting sisters?
Of course, yeah. So this duo of sisters is called the Chilling Beauties, and as Risky already mentioned, they are from Brave Frontier 2. So again, we're expanding our array of Brave Frontier 2 characters in the original Brave Frontier Global, which is always very fun because it's cool to see how the story has progressed in that side of things, even though we don't have, like an official BF2 app in global. But Hilda and Rene, they're from Philarm. And they're dubbed the chilling beauties, not because they're like, chilling at home, chilling because and it's funny because I'm wearing my chilling with my home droids shirt today, and I swear I didn't do that on purpose, but for some reason I was like, yeah, I want to wear this shirt today. So I think maybe subconsciously my mind was trying to tell me something, but that's irrelevant. That's just yeah. So Hilda and Rene. They're sisters. They're from Philarm. They both specialize in ice attacks, which is why they are named the Chilling Beauties.
Okay.
And Hilda is the older sister. She is very strong in character, very demanding, as an older sister would be. I myself, I'm the oldest one in my family. And I'm always, I have to boss people around and tell them what to do. And that's what Hilda does as well. But Hilda was particularly struck by the death of her father. Her father was killed, and she didn't know the reason behind his death, and was made to believe that the king of Philarm was the one who had murdered her father. So she started resenting the king, and then turned against him. Fueled by vengeance, she then turned to the Nogreth, and Alhaza gave her, powers to go against the king and, try to get her vengeance. Which is, it's really sad that you are living your life just kind of stuck in this one idea of just getting revenge. But, it happens. It's it's a thing. So Hilda, that was her main goal. She just kept at that, and she has that giant ice snake to help her with it. Any thoughts so far on Hilda?
Well, chilling beauties.
Yeah,
It's really like I guess she's more like the calm type, like the cool and calm type, because I don't know, because she's the sister.
right. I mean, I wouldn't say she's cool and calm, because she snaps pretty easily in the Brave Frontier 2 story. But is she the brains of the operation? Is she the one calling all the shots? For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Okay, well then let's go and meet Rene, who is her little sister. Let's go to the next slide. And Rene is, the sweeter side of things. Rene is actually much more calm in demeanor when compared to Hilda, who just kind of like snaps immediately. And Rene, instead of using a giant snake to help her out with her stuff, she has these little like ice spirits that just float around her and help her do her things. Rene's biggest challenge was keeping up with her sister as she witnessed her completely become overwhelmed by rage and revenge. Rene suffered a lot watching her sister suffer, so she's stuck by her sister's side, even if she didn't really agree with everything that her sister was doing. Right. Rene is much more of a friendly personality. She makes friends with her enemies. That's just kind of what she does.
Okay.
And Hilda is about destroying everyone, so they're pretty like polar opposites. However, there is a time and place when Rene will also snap, and when she gets angry, then Hilda, you see a very different side of Hilda, because Hilda is the one that's trying to calm Rene down. Because you see, when Rene snaps and she taps into that anger, her powers like multiply like by 1 billion. And she becomes really, really dangerous, which is one of the reasons why the Nogreth were interested in her and her sister in the first place, because they knew that Rene had all of this raw power that was just kind of sitting there. And if you just press the right button, which in Rene's case would be hurting somebody that she loves or cares about, whether it be her sister or, her friends, if you happen to do that, that's when Rene will just let out all of her crazy anger and just destroy everything. So very interesting characters, definitely. What do you think of Rene's design, Risky?
Well, I guess like the totally opposite of. Not really the totally opposite, but the cuteness is there. Like it's just very, and these two ice spirit is just too too adorable.
They're cute.
Yeah, too adorable.
I love the one that's just winking
Yes.
randomly. He's like, yeah.
Actually, we did try to maintain this the design as close as the original one, I guess. So kudos to Elim for coming out with this kind of like.
Yeah.
Even though they are actually demon, right? I mean, they're kind of like demon.
They were, I
race or
believe, if I'm
something.
not mistaken, they were
human.
given demon powers by Elhaza and then Agreth in order to get the revenge that they wanted for their father.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I can't recall 100% whether they were maybe like Carl, whether they were like half demon and half human. Because from the looks of it in the story, their father looks like a completely normal person.
Okay.
But we don't know if their mother was like a demon. You know, it could be the opposite of Carl, and that's why they have these powers. I can't recall, but yeah, they have some kind of, you know, extra power for sure.
Well, I mean, regardless, this cat stuff is too cute for a demon.
Yes.
I guess. All right. Okay. So that's for Heroes Across the Time unit, and for the next slide we have the next Vortex Arena Season 6, the Fire Showdown preview. So well, we were done with all the elements in the last season, and we are back to Fire now. For this particular Vortex Arena, there will be no new unit at the moment, but there will be alternate art for the past unit. So as usual, there will be like some adjustment to the daily and overall rank rewards, and in the event bazaar itself, there will be Inoko alternate art that you can see on the right side. Well, I'm instantly in love with the alternate art though. It's way over the goes beyond the I don't know, like the usual Brave Frontier style. What do you think of it, Sally?
Anything that has like a background, I love it. Like I know that in Brave Frontier, like we put too many things on the sprites.
Yes.
There's just too much going on. If the aura is not going crazy and the background is going crazy, and you can't really see all of your units on the screen. I know this. We all know this. But this has become like a tradition of Brave Frontier units that we just can't stop. And I actually love the fact that she's sitting, like full on sitting on a table with like bamboo in the background. She gets a huge, parasol / umbrella to cover her from the falling cherry blossom petals. You know, there's a boar underneath the table with just taking a nap. Like I love all of it. Yep. It is absolutely adorable. I love the colors. She looks extremely elegant and beautiful. So I am very much looking forward to getting this alternate unit, even though I don't actually have Inoko. I'm gonna try to get the alternate unit, so if I pull her someday, I'll have it ready to go.
Yep. Yeah, it's really like showing a lot of effort on our team to come out with like this alternate art, and I'm really looking forward for the next season as well, because I just want to know like how the alternate art will look like.
If we get alternate art every season now, that's gonna be really fun to see what we get in the future.
Okay. Alright, that's about it for the Vortex Arena Season 6. And for the next content, in the next slide, we have a special collaboration with Brave Frontier Heroes. Yes. And I'll pass the honor to Shali to share a little bit more about the content.
Okay, well, I thank you very much. We are having a collaboration with Brave Frontier Heroes, you guys. A few BNCs back, we took the time to introduce Brave Frontier Heroes to you guys with, the producer for Brave Frontier Heroes, and we went on in length about what the game was about and how you can play it and what you should do if you would like to, get units in it, etc. And in order, to help promote Brave Frontier Heroes, we are having a collaboration in Brave Frontier Global for you guys. Now, what is the collaboration going to have? Well, let's take a look at the next slide. And the next slide tells us that we're going to have a special dungeon. It's going to be a special crossover with their Frontier Heroes, right? We're going to have 3 missions. I'm not sure if the missions are separated individually or if they're all underneath the same dungeon. But we have 3 missions nonetheless. We have Battlefield of Glory, excuse me, For the People, and then Salvation in War, which are the 3 missions. And of course, these missions are going to be based on the 3 characters from Brave Frontier Heroes that are going to be making an appearance on Brave Frontier Global. And those characters are Sun-Ce, Florence Nightingale, and D'Artagnan. And I mean, these are not the easiest names to say, but let's take a look at each of these units to see what it is that they are bringing to the table. All right. So first we have Sun-Ce, and I hope I'm saying that right. But he was a war general from a world in turmoil, and he was dubbed the Little Conqueror. And he actually inherited all of his warring legacy from his father. His father was quite the warrior himself, and since he stepped up at a very young age to take over, from his father, and he was able to amass just like an incredible amount of forces behind him because of his charisma and his influence. Like, he could make anybody just want to rally up behind him, which is what gave him so much power. And he was actually so invested in his mission to like take over the land that he went to battle with his like best friend. Like, he had a best friend. They've been best friends their whole lives. And not even this stopped him from, realizing his mission of just conquering everything around him. And fun fact, since it's actually a historical figure in Chinese history, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct.
So if you want to learn more about, the real Sun-Ce, then you might want to Google him a bit and see what you can find. But what do you think of Sun-Ce? Risky.
Yeah, I think the design is really good. Then I mean, like that gold and red armor is kind of like a very iconic of the Chinese, the old ancient Chinese characters. Yep, I really like that. This he's a two-bladed warrior with I don't know. The other one is like one is a short, one is a sword, and the other one is some kind of I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
Seems
sure
to be different,
what
but
the proper names for these types of swords are, but they're definitely like different types.
Yep.
For sure.
All right.
Okay, well then let's look at our second character. Our second character is D'Artagnan, and D'Artagnan is a famous musketeer, if you guys are not aware. He's basically the 4th musketeer, and he ended up being a musketeer because he went to the capital to try to kind of like learn and grow as a person, and there he meets the already 3 existing musketeers who are very famous for their exploits, and he learns a bunch of stuff from them and becomes a musketeer himself, basically. So he's always fighting, evildoers, and always standing up for justice, and always screaming, all for one and one for all. That's the musketeer motto.
That's right.
So yeah, and D'Artagnan, unlike Sun-Ce, I believe is a fictional character from the novel The Three Musketeers, and but he would be from France, if I am not mistaken. So I love the Musketeer story. It's always been really appealing to me. I think they're just so cool, and their idea that we all have to work together because we are all in essence one person or one being. It's such an important lesson that could be applied to the world, like on this day.
This day.
Like, if we could just work as one, everything would be better. But I guess we have a long way to go still. But what do you think of D'Artagnan?
Yeah, I like the classic design. I mean, it looks like the I don't know. It gives me the vibe of Brave Frontier RPG style unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because it's a very French and a very very European style. Character. Yeah, it's really good, and I like the hat.
Yeah, the hat is a fashion statement for sure. Alright, and now moving forward to our last unit coming from Brave Frontier Heroes. On the next slide here, we have Florence Nightingale. And Florence Nightingale was also a real historical figure. She established a foundation that would train other nurses to become better nurses. So she was one of the first people to actually train nurses as like a group, because during the time that she was alive, nurses were kind of like volunteers from here and there, and they didn't necessarily have like a lot of professional training. But Florence was very interested in improving the quality of treatments, the quality of the facilities that sick people and injured people were receiving care, because this was also like during the war, and her whole thing was just about helping other people, and then helping those who were trying to help others, so like the nursing personnel and stuff like that, to do their job better. So she was just about improving the healthcare system, basically. So thanks to her, now we, it's not acceptable to have like, for example, like a really dirty room for a patient to recover in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So she's just out here to save lives. And I have to tell you that the real Florence Nightingale looks very different from her sprite in Brave Frontier. But
I guess it's a very interesting way to reimagine a famous character. I mean, like famous real world person. It's not so much on like trying to imitate them, but like appreciate them in the different form. I think this is kind of like unique way of Japanese I don't know, like culture, anime, or like games, to reimagine this like real life real world figures to be like historical figures, to be like interesting enough. Like can you imagine like she's like totally not the type that fight a war or like fight in a battle, but you see that huge syringe. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and just like her uniform, for example, like the uniform that she's wearing in her Brave Frontier sprite is like 100% not what she would wear on a daily basis. Like you would have never been able to see her toes. That's the era that she lived in. But this Florence Nightingale has like stockings and red heels on, ready to go to work. So it's a very big contrast from the actual historical figure. But as you said before, these characters are based on famous figures, whether they be historical figures or whether they be fictional figures like D'Artagnan. And Florence Nightingale here just happens to be based on a historical figure. But of course, this is just the reimagined version of Florence in Brave Frontier form. If we were to put her exactly as she was, like if we would just take a picture of her and just kind of made a sprite out of that, I think people would be very confused. Like what is going on, and how did this get made into a unit?
They can be support unit, they can still be support healer.
Yeah, of course, when we put them into our game, we have to somehow make them match with the already ongoing theme. So they're not gonna look exactly the same. But I just wanted to say that as like a bit of trivia. Again, if you're interested in learning more about these historical figures, just go on Google and type Florence Nightingale and see what you come up with, because these are very interesting people, and I think that's why Brave Frontier Heroes chose them specifically to be part of this collaboration, to highlight them and their stories.
Right.
And that's it for the Brave Frontier Heroes collaboration. Hope you guys are looking forward to it, and stick around for the Summoner's Corner coming up next. Alright, welcome back. It's time for the Summoner's Corner, where you guys ask all the questions and Risky gives you all of the answers. And we have one here from Dog Black. He's asking if the last Brave Summon Pool update was in August of 2019. Are we going to basically add the rest of the Vortex Arena units from seasons 4 or 5 to the Brave Summon Pool?
Right. Well, the players actually remember, like I did. And the answer will be like, yes, we are going to update Brave Summon Pool in the near future. So please stay tuned to our official channels for more updates. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay, well that's good news. The fact that it's going to
Yeah.
be updated is already good news. I'm sure that people are going to be happy to hear that. So thank you for your question, Doug. Moving on to Jeremy JOD. So Jeremy would like to ask. He has two questions. Number one is, could you bring back the normal unit of choice because it had a lot of more selection when it comes to units that are like legacy, and you know there's a lot of veterans out there that want to complete their collections. And then there is a problem with the mystery frogs where when they're filtered, they don't have a unit type. So they kind of, by default, if you're filtering them by like sellable units, sometimes they fall into the sellable category. And if you just like press that button of like sell all your sellable units, you might by mistake end up selling one of your precious mystery frogs. So are we going to do anything about that?
Okay, so two questions here. The first about the UOC. Probably not so much on the UOC, but the team has planned to introduce more ways for players to collect legacy units. For example, through the super honor summons or special gates that will allow players to get those units. So the concrete implementation of this, I guess we have to wait a little bit more to get more updates on this from the team. The second question will be the mystery frogs filter. Yes, the team understand that the lack of new the filters is currently troubling players as well, and they are actually planning to do the improvement on this in the near future. So yeah, please look forward for the official updates as well.
All right, we're on it, Jeremy, so just hold on a little bit longer, okay? Thank you so much for your question. And then the last question here, oh my god, I cannot read that name. I am so sorry.
Oh, yeah, what is it?
I mean, if I go by the symbols, it's a Japanese shi.
Yeah,
and then we have what looks like an NEOS, Shinios? I'm gonna guess this is your name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. I really just don't know how to read it.
Just let us know how to read it, though.
Bishinios is asking, is there a possibility for the 999 level players or endgame players to have some kind of custom art unit like Brave Frontier Heroes? And I think by this they mean in Brave Frontier Heroes you can actually make your own custom art and upload it into the game and attach it to one of your units, so that is the custom art that shows up for them. So I think this is what they are asking for.
Okay.
What do you think, Rizky?
That custom art, meaning that you can actually put your picture of your dog or your cat for that in replace of this?
I mean, hopefully not. I mean, I think it was more made in the way that you can create your own fan art for that particular unit, like your favorite unit. You draw them in your favorite way, you know, like maybe with like a bunch of hearts, or maybe they're wearing sunglasses or something, and then you upload that into Brave Frontier Heroes, and then when you trade or you sell that unit, the unit's like art, the display that shows for them is the custom art that you made for them, because it's attached to that particular unit.
Okay.
So I think that's what they are asking for here.
Okay, I think the answer from us is a little bit off because we misunderstood the question. But
yeah, I think so too.
Okay, I guess in terms of this, probably we have to bring it back to the team and then check again, because in the sense that whether customizing the art and having like your own art to be attached to a unit is possible at the current moment, the system doesn't support it. Because how the unit is be, like for example, our unit can be seen by other players as well in the battle, in the reinforcement selection, friend selection, and everything. Like, it's going to be quite complicated to have a customer there. But yeah, so the answer for now is we don't know if it's possible yet. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to bring it back to the team and discuss.
Yeah, we're gonna have to consult with the team because I think we had an answer prepared for this one, and I think it wasn't completely
correct
covering the question. Yes. As I read the question, I realized what was being asked, but I think whoever was vetting the questions wasn't really sure of what was being asked. We are coming up with a lot more like alternate art, so there will be a lot other like sprites that you guys can, well, not sprites, but you know, visuals that you guys can enjoy for different units that are scheduled to come out. And of course, we are not gonna say who just yet. we're gonna leave that a little bit of a mystery for now. So there will be more alternate arts to enjoy in the future for sure. But whether this like completely customizable art function can be put into Brave Frontier Global as it is now is a very hard question for us to answer right now. So we're gonna have to hold off on that one, unfortunately. And in the meantime, maybe just come up with some kind of really cool art that can be given to our 999 level players, just kind of as like a token of appreciation, like, you know, thank you for being a veteran, or you know, for all of your support or something. I think that's a little bit more doable than.
Yeah, that could be like one of a way of doing it. Yeah, that we can discuss with the team. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to get back to you on that one. Sorry about that.
All right.
Well, that does it for us here today. Again, we're hoping that you are doing well, that you find yourself in good health, your friends and family and loved ones, of course, you know, doing well too. Again, this is another video from Pope, but I mean, I think we're doing okay so far, and it works to our advantage because we can plan more easily.
Yes, that's correct.
around our schedule this way. Risky, any words before we call it off today?
No, I guess I'm good, and just as usual, I guess this situation might still last for a while for some people or some countries. But yeah, stay healthy and enjoy Brave Frontier, and we'll look forward for our upcoming exciting updates as well.
All right, well that does it for us, guys. We'll see you on the next video.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.